Welcome to Byproduct Live, where we unbox everything SaaS and product. We talk with experts and leaders in SaaS and products to understand their approach to leadership and ways of working, to share their knowledge and understanding. Today on the Byproduct podcast, I'm delighted to be joined by Igor Ranc. Igor is a product professional, and some of our listeners will definitely know Igor from his newsletter, Handpicked Berlin. Igor's early career included roles at Daimler Financial Services and Mercedes-Benz Bank, and his most recent position, Igor was Senior Technical Product Manager in the AI product team at Insurtech platform Wefox. I'll be talking to Igor about his thoughts on AI and its application in products, and considering if we're about to see a dip in confidence in the use of AI at all. What started as a side project and a hobby, Igor publishes Handpicked Berlin, a 5-minute Monday morning inspiration for everything Berlin. It's a great resource. They've got around 8,500 subscribers and counting on Substack, and we'll talk a little bit about this too at the end of our conversation today. But for now, let's dive into AI and products. Igor, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Thanks for having me, Andrew, and thanks for this beautiful intro.
No problem. So I think what would be really useful for our listeners, if we just put a little bit of context of your experience and your last role. So you were a technical PM in the AI team at Wefox. You just want to give a quick overview of what you were responsible for there?
Yeah, basically I did. I just started this role at the start of this AI hype, so it was really great to be having experience working on this. So mainly we did a lot of machine learning projects, but what I mainly focused on was sort of a chatbot where you upload certain documents and then you can basically discuss questions, sort of a Q&A on a document. And this was very classical LLM, large language model application. And yeah, that's why we are also today talking about this.
Yeah, cool. And I think a good place to start with AI, and we mentioned the hype, is actually the challenge around implementing AI models. So what kind of challenges have you seen in that role?
So I mean, the technology, at least when you remember when we first had the experience of this ChatGPT, everyone was extremely amazed, right? So this, of course, also then translated to all the companies. Everyone wanted a piece of this. It's like one of those, it was like sort of a new blockchain technology, right? Everyone thinking, okay, what are we going to do now? So I think it's still the case, right? You've seen there's a lot of experiments. There's been a lot of different use cases, a lot of hype. Yeah, we've seen the investments coming in. And I think the challenges that is similar to blockchain in this sense was that use cases are very hard to really pinpoint, because technology is amazing, and then a lot of companies are now still trying intensively to find use cases for this technology. But I feel that the main problems are basically this inherent property of LLM models that they hallucinate, right? But they are very convincing in it. So you write something, I mean, you tried it probably with ChatGPT, and it will be very confidently telling you completely wrong information. And this is extremely hard to prevent. It's basically literally impossible to prevent. So you will never be 100% sure that what the model is telling you is the truth, right? So you can be 99% sure. And this, especially in the applications where you're looking at B2C. So, for example, we've seen this with, I think it was a Canadian airline, where a chatbot promised a discount to a customer.
Right.
And then basically the company was liable for this. So everyone is extremely afraid. Everyone is extremely afraid of this. So that's basically the hallucinations. And then obviously everyone knows about this, so everyone is also interested in AI safety, right? So how will I ensure that my product is not gonna lie to the customer?
Of course.
But it turns out this is also extremely hard to achieve, right? Even with the best. I mean, we've seen what happened to Google. It happens to the best companies with the best resources, and I think that's been like sort of a common occurrence in every single application, besides the ones that are basically for the expert to check, right? And when you say, okay, who is the expert? Who is the expert? In this case, it's a very good example is software engineers. They are experts, they know the code. And for them, I think this has been a massive win.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess it's all about control on the models, and that then comes down to the prompts that people are using. Because if the prompts are lazy, then I'm guessing then that the outcomes that the model's going to deliver are not going to be accurate.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I mean. We all see it, right? When you say to ChatGPT, or now basically Claude is much better now. When you just say something quick, 2 sentences, write this, do this, you will get a very general response. So whenever you work with LLMs, it usually makes sense that you really think about the prompt. So this, like, usually, if the longer it is, the more precise it is, the more you experiment on the prompting itself, the better the final result will be. And this is often what in general, we want the results fast, but because the model of input is basically text, right? It's very hard. Think of it as a PM. You always need to think about user stories, requirements. So if you would really like a model to produce something extremely good, you would need to think in very precise matters. You would need to really define things. Really, really in detail, and that's what we usually don't do. So usually, if you don't put effort in the prompts, also results will be terrible. So, and that's exactly what makes a difference. So if you want to have a very good assistant, you need to spend a lot of time with teaching or training or prompting in this way that you're getting the results that you want.
Yeah, and I guess there's just so many variations and connotations in different circumstances, and the way that different people would ask different questions. And I guess it almost becomes a vicious circle that if the data's not going in accurate enough and the model's learning from that data that's not accurate, then it's going to keep creating those inaccuracies. And I guess it'd be difficult to get to a point where it is 100% accurate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but for example, ChatGPT, they're always changing the model, right? So you can you can have identical prompt, but then the result will be slightly different. For example, in some formatting tasks, it would just stop putting a dot at the end of the sentence, even if for 3 months everything worked perfectly. So that's one of these main risks where you rely on third-party models which are maintained and run by them. For example, this was very common in these ChatGPT wrappers, where you see that certain things can work really well, but then suddenly they stop working really well. That's in the cases where you don't control the model. And so if you don't run your own models, then you're gonna always have this question, okay, what is my supplier now doing with the model itself? So I think the most successful companies will anyway be the ones that will run their own versions of the models.
Yeah. And I guess if we take that back to your work at Wefox and we put that into a chatbot example, it can obviously be an incredibly powerful tool if you upload a data and then the bot can understand what you need from that document. But equally, on the flip side, if it gets it wrong, the impact on a business could be super negative, really bad customer experience. But ultimately, as you mentioned about the airline, it then ends up costing the business more money than the bot is supposed to be saving in terms of the way it works.
Yeah, so that's a very good that's one of the biggest problems. Exactly, it's this confidence in the result, and it's not programmatic, right? So it's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's usually 2. That's the LLMs. That's the main problem here. And even with all this mitigation, now there is a lot of talk about RAG, so that's retrieval augmented generation. It also has its own problems. So it is an amazing tool, but you need to always take it with a grain of salt. So that's been clear for everyone that seriously worked with it. But of course, this doesn't mean that the technology itself has much more utility than, for example, blockchain, because people that are really I think the most beneficial industry of this is software development, because they are able to, I mean, this is just, software development will never be as easy and as cheap as it's going to be from now on, right? So each year it's just going to get better and better. And I think also you will have all these very, very targeted models, because one thing that is also a problem you mentioned, right? If I upload massive amounts of data to a model, this also costs me money, especially if I don't run it by myself. But even if you run it by yourself, it costs you GPUs, you need to run the computing power.
Of course.
So it's also expensive to run this technology. And that's why you also see that OpenAI, I mean, they are by far the market leader, but they are burning so much money because it's also very expensive, right? So you said like, okay, but if I don't have the use case, I mean, Klarna did a lot of, at least publicly, they said we did a lot of this with customer service. So yeah, I think everyone is trying, but there's not been a killer.
I think in terms of the cost, I think I saw recently the latest NVIDIA chip, is it $20,000 per chip or something crazy that it's costing?
Yeah, it's bizarre. Now everyone is investing, but this is more for the training part, right? When they train these foundational models with all these billion parameters. So that's one part. So you need to be big, but at the second step, I think what's going to really matter is that you're going to have a lot of very small specialized models.
Yeah.
For example, if I have now a task for your podcast that I just want a particular way that this model will work, this will be, I think, in a couple of months, maybe a year, it will be extremely accessible, so that everyone will be able to have a little army of very smart interns, which will be very cheap to run, right?
Yeah.
Especially this, if you imagine, if you have somebody very smart, like extremely smart intern that comes to your business, if you think about models in this way and you tell them, okay, for this particular task, you need to do this particular things, and you repeat this is where we are talking about training data, right?
Yeah.
You expose a lot of information the way you want it, the model will be able to understand this, and then it will be able to output what you asked it, right? And this will be definitely changing many jobs or many companies in a good way, especially in the efficiencies. But of course, there will be never a magical solution where you're going to put your shit, going to put your shit prompt in, and then something magical will happen.
Yeah, definitely. So I think when we're talking about confidence, then I think that there's two sides to this, right? So you're saying that software engineers and professionals are going to continue with the hype because they understand the benefit it's going to deliver. But then you've got the consumer and the user side, where are they going to believe what's happening? And there's going to be a situation perhaps where there's a confidence dip on that side of things. Would you think?
Yeah, there's one thing is definitely this, but I think also the consumers will finally not even get it exposed, right? I think companies will be very reluctant to push some chatbots there, because I don't know what your personal experience is, but it's also very painful to chat, right, with your problem, because even for the user, you need to explain, okay, my ticket, I couldn't book it, like, let's say some booking.com or whatever. It's painful, right? It's painful to type all this. So you just rather talk with someone. So maybe if it's going to go in this direction, that you're going to have agents that are really good in explaining things through the voice, right? Which we're also seeing. I think that's maybe even more interesting. And of course, people will be always asking themselves, am I talking to AI now or a real person?
Yeah, a real person or
not.
But
I think this will come eventually. Right? We will have this definitely. But the question is also how brave the companies will be to release this into the wild.
Yeah.
Because even the best AI safety I briefly mentioned, there is this Twitter accounts which are just basically called jailbreak whatever, and they always find the prompt that will break the model. So it will just do, the model will just, so it is always this problem that is going to be very hard to mitigate. Everyone obviously is trying. So I think software engineers, they're going to love it, continue to love everyone that or also in the companies basically things that somebody will check over, right?
Yeah.
Imagine there is a result and there is still a person a bit checking this. All of this will be massively adopted, but the things that nobody is checking, but the end consumer is getting it.
Yes.
I think a lot of, especially older companies, they will be a bit reluctant to push this out.
Yeah. I guess the danger for software engineers comes, though, is when the AI model can create its own software language and then build the models and applications without the software engineers being involved.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, but there's a lot of discussion on this in these areas, but I think we are still far from that there will be some self-aware, this AGI everyone speaks about, and then we can just close the shop. If this,
I was going to say, that's when the software engineers need to pull the plug on it and not switch it back on.
Yeah, but this will work. When they will unplug, the stuff will still work.
It'll still be working. Yeah. Cool. Well, look, we've had a really good chat through the application of AI, and obviously there's some of the risks in there and the safety, and actually where the confidence piece is going to be. So we'll wrap up our conversation there. But why don't we just have a quick 2 minutes on your newsletter, Handpicked Berlin? So how long have you been producing the newsletter for now, Igor?
I think it's been now 2 years and a couple of months.
And
as you said, I enjoy it. It is my side hobby, and basically that's also the reason why we speak, I believe.
Yeah. So I'm signed up to the newsletter. I get it every Monday, and it's really informative and interesting, and got varied pieces of news in there. What kind of things do you include in there, just for the benefit of people who may not have heard about it?
Yeah, so it's basically a weekly digest of what's going on in Berlin and Germany from the perspective of tech, startups, who got funded, things that I got interesting, what is interesting in Berlin, what's interesting in Germany, career stuff. It's a bit of a mix, what I find personally interesting, and luckily,
so do the people.
So many other people also find it interesting, and I'm really enjoying doing it. So of course I would be happy to get new people checking it out and also giving some feedback.
Yeah, cool. Well, let's wrap up the conversation for today. So we always like to do some key takeaways. So I think number one is it's obviously important not to get caught up in the hype around AI, and ensure that AI is adding value to your product and ultimately whoever your customers or your users are. I think, as we said, it's ultimately all about the data quality. Rubbish in is going to equal rubbish out. I think everybody would agree on. And then that dip in confidence is likely to come on the consumer side. So do people know that they are actually interacting with AI, and then how easy it is to interact and how frustrated people get? And it's likely we're probably going to see a little bit of a dip, and then the hype will come back again. But obviously, as we've discussed, for software engineers, they're going to be loving the tool because it's going to make their life easier and help them be more productive. And we're going to have a little extra takeaway today, and that is to make sure all our listeners check out Handpicked Berlin. So Substack's the place to find that, right? To sign up and subscribe, and then that'll hit your inbox every Monday morning.
Yes, exactly. And don't forget not to do lazy prompts.
Yes, no lazy prompts. That's the other thing. Cool. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Igor. It's been really interesting and good to connect, and we'll catch up soon.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening today. We hope that you found the Byproduct Live podcast valuable, useful, and informative. You can subscribe on all major podcast platforms, including Apple, Spotify, and also YouTube. If you have the time, we'd love for you to leave us a positive review. As a new podcast, this would really help us out. We'll hope to see you soon on the next episode, and thank you again.